welcome to our second video about the Professional Program Management System. This video deals with all the actors that can use our system. We have two main ones, guests or students, and administrators. Regardless of which one you are, you have a toolbar here which lets you select options. This here is the About Us page, which explains a bit of information about the system similar to how the old system worked. These are the information sessions, where users or potential students may go and visit physically to learn more about the system as a whole. As you can see, we currently have 3 of these sessions currently available for students to come visit. This is something that both students and administrators can see. But that's enough of the features that involve just anyone. Next, we have registration. Here are all the forms that need to be filled out, each with their own specific formats that have to be maintained in order for everything to pass successfully. So let's fill a guest account and see what happens. All the information here must comply to certain standards, otherwise the system will refuse it. So here's our username. And now here's the password we're entering. Now look, the password that we entered does not comply with the other password that we entered, and so we get an error that tells us that the passwords don't match. So let's try to see what happens if I continue this, and what will happen when we submit the account. Alright. So we're done with all the information. Let's click register and see what happens. It refuses. It doesn't seem to be letting us because our password from before still don't match. So let's fix that. Now you can see that we were able to successfully register. So let's go back. And now let's try to log in using our new account. See what happens. And here we go. We're now in the home page of our account. So on this page, you can log out, as you saw us do right there. And now let's try to log in again. But let's use a wrong password this time. And as you can see, we don't allow the user to enter wrong passwords to log in. But let's say we don't know our password. We can enter our email in the Forget a Password page, and this will send us a link with a code that we must enter. As you can see here, it gives us a link with a code, and we must click on that link and copy the code so that when we reset our password, we use that code. So let's try that now. And now there you go, our password was changed. Now the cool thing about this is that whenever you enter the code and you try again to reset your password, that code no longer works for security reasons. The code gets changed whenever the password is updated, as you'll see here. There you go. So every time you change your password, you must use a different code. Now let's log back in again. Now here at the home page we have a blank screen, and this is where all of our tickets reside. So these are all the tickets that our account has, which are none of course at the moment because it's a new account, but let's create a ticket. So we click on this button, and all we really have to enter is a description for the ticket. Everything else is done automatically. So let's try to fill an empty ticket, and it refuses to let us because the description is required. So let's enter a little something and hit submit. So now you can see that we've added a ticket, and here we have the different components of the ticket, like the date it was created and the status. and we can either respond to the ticket or we can close it. But let's try to respond to it, and here you can see the previous ticket, and let's add a little something to it. So now when we go to the details, we can see that our response was added to the ticket itself. But let's go back, and now let's try to close the ticket, and it will ask us, and once we say that we do, you can see that now all the statuses change because the ticket is now closed. Now, what another thing students can do is go to the schedule page, and here they can see all the classes that exist in the system currently. We have 3 of them so far in a grid-like setting, and you can see all the textbook information regarding those classes. Now, that completes all the things for the student. Let's work on an administrator now. So I'm going to log in using one of our administrator accounts. And this page looks a little different now because we have every single ticket in the system. Administrators are able to look at all the tickets that have previously been created by every single student. And there they can either respond to them or they can close them, though that's in the response page as well. But here are all the tickets that every student has ever created archived, which was at the forefront of our system design. So now let's try to respond to a ticket, and you can see that we can add a response if we want, like so, and we can resolve the ticket. And once we hit submit, that particular student will be able to see the same thing we see, that our ticket was resolved. So here you see that we added a response to the ticket in the details. So now here are all the tickets and all their statuses that have changed depending on what each administrator can touch every ticket. So whenever an administrator touches a ticket, they will all see the change. Now here we have the current schedule page, which, similar to an administrator, to a student, you can create a schedule page for yourself. So let's do that now. All this information is very technical and is only known by administrators themselves. But let's just try to create a class and see what happens. So we're entering each of these fields. Again, this is something that administrators would have a handbook for when they're doing it themselves. But this information isn't meant to be used by students. This is an administrator account only. I'm not going to explain most of these. Anyway, let's try to hit submit. And now you can see that we've added an extra class to our schedule page. And every student can now see this too. Another thing that administrators can do that students cannot is they can look at all the enrolled students for a class. So you can see there are 2 students in this class and 1 student in this, 2 more students in this one, and so on. Anyway, that completes this video regarding the actors of the professional program management system. We hope it's been useful to you and helps you understand the different components and users of our system. Join us next time for the video on installation and maintenance of this program. Thank you, and see you then.